Hello, and welcome back to the Geek on My Sleeve channel. Today we're doing a spoiler-free review of Sufficiently Advanced Magic. It is the first book in the Arcane Ascension series by Andrew Rowe. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the first book. We'll be continuing the series. It is considered to be lit RPG, and I can definitely tell that, but it is more so, I guess, plot driven and not as intense on the stats.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely consider it a lit RPG, but it reads a lot more as a fantasy. And I'm gonna do my best to keep it spoiler free as much as possible here. Just finished the Geek Out live discussion with our good friend Carlos, and he's gotten further in the series than we have. And you feel like the lit RPG, the system's there. And in this first book, we really get a nice kind of easing into the world and the magic system and the lit RPG elements. And by following a student named Corin, like it throws us right into the action as he's taking his kind of like entrance exam to uh, this 2 year school where he learns how to use his powers. And we get to kind of learn with him about the magic system, about the ranks in between the different tiers of users.
Yeah, that's the very interesting, unique element I would say is so still spoiler free, but kind of the concept behind it is there are different towers, and by going through the tower, or at least doing your trial, you can get what they call an attunement or a mark. And once you have that, you're going to gain access to certain abilities, and as much as we learn throughout book one, it just keeps hinting at more and more because each of the towers provide different attunements. So, yeah, it very much leads us off where everything we know is only relevant for the people who are close to us, and there's a lot of, I guess, political maneuvering as well as, foreign foreign stuff going on that we don't get accounted in book one.
Yeah. We follow in book one through the eyes of Corin Cadence, and there are six different towers that we know of, and each grants their own abilities through the attunements. And we really only get to see potentially like 1/5 of what we know of in regards to attunements. They
I would say not even that. Like, we get to see a small portion of our own tower, but we know nothing of the other six.
that's not entirely true. We know a
Okay.
little
Okay,
bit, but
we do
not
get
much by
a
the end of.
handful here and
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Don't want to get too much into spoilers, but point being, great point to jump into Andrew Rowe's world, the sufficiently advanced magic book in the Arcane Ascension series. Really easy learning curve. It's a longer book, 625 pages, and it reads more like a YA book, but for me, having a large background in fantasy, it reads more like a traditional fantasy to me. And he did a really good job just kind of setting the bar of entry pretty low, um, easing you into the world, exploring the magic system, and it's a lot of fun along the way. It's not very stats heavy, like Peter said earlier. Some lit RPG books every other chapter you're getting half a page or 2 pages of just stats dump, right?
Yeah, and that's so there are a couple levels of lit RPG, and this is I would say is a very soft lit RPG because it does have the progression system. Once you gain an attunement mark, you can work on advancing it and leveling it up, and there's, the progression that way, but you don't have there's no like strength, dexterity, intelligence, other basic RPG elements inside of it.
We primarily just focus on the mana, and
Yeah.
um, that's about it. And bite my tongue. No spoilers, no spoilers. Um,
So that's another interesting, unique element inside of this book that I haven't seen done as of yet in any other book. It divides it by body part. So like left hand, right hand, left leg, right leg, head, chest, lungs, and
knees and toes, knees and toes.
you
Sorry,
can
continue.
have different um strength in each of these limbs.
This is true. This is true. That's why you never skip leg day because you don't want to have some chicken leg stats. So, yeah, fun world, very interesting dynamics. In regards to combat, Pete, did it scratch your combat itch well enough?
I felt like there was one combat scene that was sufficient, but in regards to like overall combat, I felt like there was a lack. There was more a political maneuvering, more world building, more.
So, Pete is a combat junkie, and I will disagree with him a little bit on this. It's a longer book. If it is not primarily all combat, Peter always feels there could be more combat. But thinking back through the book, we do get a handful of fun combat scenes throughout the book. I do agree with him, though, that the plot follows a lot of other elements, different political elements, the slice of life, back to school, being a young man kind of coming into his power, the hero's journey, so on and so forth. We do get a good amount of combat. I mean, like the first couple of chapters were thrown right into combat. Good part of the book is
Mm,
also listening to Corin kind of like overthink and overanalyze his way through everything. But yeah,
and that's where this is still lit RPG, but it's a little different flavor for me because I think typical lit RPGs is more MMO based, and you have your gathering quest, you have your deliver the letter quest, you have your kill quest, you have, your basic, hey, now you can unlock your, class, whatever, and then you get into the dungeon dives and so on and so forth.
mm-hmm.
And that's where I felt like this book did well incorporating more than just combat, because it involves puzzles and critical thinking and finding other hidden elements throughout it. So,
Yeah, yeah. More like a D&D campaign, less like a Call of Duty or some other hack and slash. I know Call of Duty isn't hack and slash. I guess you can knife people. But I digress.
and if you got value out of this spoiler-free review, don't forget to like and subscribe, turn on the bell notifications so you can see our next book recommendation, spoiler-free review, as well as catch us live after you've gone through the books, because we do a Geek Out every Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern, which is a deep dive, spoiler filled, geek out, talk nerdy to me kind of moment, which we hope to geek out with you soon.
Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.
Bye.